sights. I won the bet from betting weekly because we win. That is our motto. Sometimes we win, sometimes we don't win. Don't give us the bird. Don't give us your stink eye. We try our best and we're successful. Come watch our show. Bet with the sponsors. It's time to start. Enjoy the show.
Welcome in, everyone, to Betting Weekly Live, Friday the 9th of January. You with Steve Wyss and Lewis Jones today. It's the start of the FA Cup third round, Lewis. Really long-standing traditional competition. Kind of changed a little bit these days with the matches spread out a lot, but still a little bit of excitement. How's it going?
Yeah, all good, thanks, Steve. I've definitely got the Friday feeling today because I'm actually off this weekend. This is always the weekend I try to switch off and just recharge myself away from football. So traditionally, yes, the FA Cup third round weekend is one that is a very exciting weekend most traditionally over the years, but it's just one that fits into my schedule where I can just ease off a little bit because the period between, since Boxing Day really, it's been absolutely relentless for football journalists and people that follow the game and bet on the game. So just need a bit of time to gather myself and not watch any football. So I'm trying to stay clear of everything from Saturday and Sunday and see how I get on. I'll probably get absolutely fed up by about 12 o'clock on Saturday. I need to get my fix. But it's it's always a weekend where I just try and switch off because again we've got such a relentless period coming up of football. It's just the space in the calendar to step away and recharge. I think that's always quite important during the season, isn't it? When it's just been so full on since Boxing Day with games every sort of 2-3 days in the Premier League. So yeah, just looking forward to switching off, spending a bit of time with the family, and What about you? Are you looking forward to the third round weekend? Is it one in the diary for you?
I'm not a massive fan of cups, to be honest, Lewis, because I've always found them. You have to research even more into cup matches because of the lineups, motivation, stuff like that. I remember when I used to, I was at my football radar days doing the French Cup. Oh, I used to hate it because you couldn't even find certain information. So I don't really like betting on cup matches pre-game too often, unless I've got a serious edge that I know about. In play, of course, I'm going to be involved. But I'm looking forward to the return of the Bundesliga as well this weekend. And you're absolutely right. When you think about it, it's a hectic period for certainly over in England. This is the sort of weekend we're going to see certain presenters with their pictures and photos on the ski slopes and stuff. It's their weekend where they'll be getting away, isn't it? So I don't blame you actually for having to switch off a little bit.
It's a really if you do sort of go for it this weekend and stay across all the fixtures, it's a very, very busy weekend because you have to be across so many games when team news are released. And I just find the workload because you have to bet so late, I think, in these cup competitions with the amount of changes that come in. So I find it a very stressful weekend. And the last thing I need at the moment is a stressful weekend. I need a relaxing weekend and keep my head clear for the rest of the season. So it's just a little bit of a strategy I always make on FA Cup third round weekend, just to take it off and hopefully we can be refreshed and be back to our usual levels of excitement and engagement, and that's why I just find I just need to switch off from football just for a couple of days. It's always good for the brain, isn't it? Sometimes, but fully engaged in today's card, so no worries on that front. Really nice, really great set of fixtures. I think a lot of variety in there, isn't there, from different leagues, and we've got a very big game in AFCON, the quarter final we'll be looking at. Really interested in that game, so yeah, looking forward to getting stuck in today.
Yeah, we've got AFCON, Bundesliga, La Liga, FA Cup third round matches and FA Cup futures as well. I want to welcome everyone into chat and hope you've had a great week so far. Leslie Mack says Ice Age meets Noah's Ark. Kind of has been a bit like that. Duncan Evans, good to see you. Steve from Lynn as well. Mike, ZT, Matesk, Peter Chalkins. January and football don't go hand in hand. Bad variants are just impossible to predict lately. Lots of reasons. Transfer market, weather, teams out of sync, schedule bananas, Peter. January, yeah, it's not always my favourite month, to be honest with you. Kevin Brodser says, morning, gents. Dan's Cremonense Gallery over 2.5 was an easy winner. Dan Roebuck, in the chat yesterday, flagged that up, and it won by 51st minute, I think. So well done, Dan, there. The Senegal is playing right now, actually. They just kicked off, haven't they? Forgot about that African Nations Cup. Mindy says you never hear football journalist workload and welfare mentioned by FIFA. Fantino's got a lot to answer for.
What a comment. Yes. Poor us, eh? Poor us.
Good to see you, Real Brandon King, as well. And I've got exactly the same futures, Senegal, Algeria. So I'm hoping Senegal get through today. Algeria, that's a tough one over the weekend for them. I must say. AC Milan, they had a disallowed goal around the hour mark, Duncan, which I thought was really harsh. And if that goes in, it's a different ball game. And then for overbackers, the last second penalty missed by Genoa, that was more like a field goal attempt in the NFL playoffs. It was absolutely skied. Good to see Villa fan as well. But yesterday, not the greatest of betting heats. Biggest bets on the soccer field was nearly $5,000 on Real Madrid. Money line against Atletico Madrid in the Super Cup, that one won. And a surprising loser here, $4,000 on Arsenal. Over 1.5 second half corners against Liverpool. I think there was only one corner in the entire second half.
Wow, yeah, that came late as well. That came, I think, in the last minute of the game, didn't it? When the Gabriel chance to the back post.
Crowd went berserk when the corner was won. That's why it's come to at Arsenal. But I think that's one way. Liverpool, of course, getting the 0-0 draw, only restricted Arsenal to 3 corners in the whole match. That's a good way to get an edge on Arsenal because they're so good from set pieces, aren't they? Really drab affair, that one, Lewis.
Yeah, I mean,
didn't surprise me though.
No, I was on the unders as well. I put up under 2.5 goals actually, and it landed very comfortably in the end. It was just the clash of style, the perfect case of managers matched up against each other who are just obsessed with control. So it was a very controlled game. And Arteta, I mean, again, the draw's okay in the grand scheme of things for the title race in the long term, but does just makes you think, doesn't it? You just want to see Arsenal go and take advantage and grab this title race by the scruff of the neck, and they're not really capable of doing that in certain games, which is fine, I think, at the moment. But if they get put under any sort of pressure in the season, I still think they're going to be a little bit vulnerable. And I am against Arsenal in the outright market, so I'm hoping that the wobble comes at some point. But Man City's form at the moment, just obviously dropping 3-1 draws in a row, isn't it? So it's a very frustrating time for anyone that's trying to get Arsenal beat at the moment. But again, they just keep offering us a little bit of hope with their performances last night. So I don't think it's over yet. But it's not looking great for me in terms of my layer. They just might just be the best team, and they can just sort of plot their way through the season and pick up points where they need to. So I can see what Arteta's trying to do, but he does really need to release the handbrake at some point, I think, in these games and just go try and win the title rather than just let it falling in their lap, I think.
I keep hearing this term, poor champions. It was used to describe Liverpool at times last season, and Arsenal are already sort of being described as that this year. I think they probably will win it just because the chasing pack is poor itself at the moment. Let's see where Manchester City's squad is, though, at the end of this month. I've got a feeling there might be a couple of surprises that come their way, and maybe they can make something happen. And humble Levadim, we don't even talk about that Marseille game yesterday. Absolutely ridiculous finish to that. PSG looked out, I thought, there. And SF9er says Arsenal parked the bus. It's kind of, a little bit like that. I think a point ultimately wasn't maybe terrible for them. But we'll see what we'll do. We'll move on to today. We've got a few fixtures on the card. We start with the African Nations Cup, actually. 0-0 so far. Mali, Senegal. You can watch that match live on the Bet Rivers app or website, and you can bet in play. But the second semi-final is later on. This is at 2 p.m. Eastern time. Cameroon are a 7-1 shot. This is a 90-minute market, by the way. 7-1 shot against the hosts nation, Morocco, minus 210 in 90 minutes. If it is a tie, it will go extra time, potentially penalties. Cameroon perhaps have surprised a few people with their performances in this competition. They're going to have to really play well over here, aren't they, Lewis, to get anything?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that the market is speaking very loud and clear here about Morocco and how fancied they are to get the job done here in 90 minutes. I mean, if following hefty market moves or what some people call steamers are your thing, then I think Morocco are a very interesting team for you tonight, because I think they've been punting quite heavily in the last 24 hours. I did see they were sort of around minus 170, maybe 18, sort of 24 hours ago. Now they're minus 210 still, Steve? Is that the price we got here? Yeah. Minus 210. So it means their Asian line has moved as well from minus 3/4 to -1 now. So I can absolutely see why they've been hammered as well and smashed in, because they're a really, really good side that's built for knockout football, I think. And I'm annoyed at myself for not jumping on earlier this week when the price was there, because there's been so many signs in the outright market as well that the market absolutely love this Morocco team, and they're now the plus 200 favourites in the futures market to win this now. And every other team just seems to be quite friendless in there at the moment. So it's definitely becoming a sort of a one-team book, this futures market for Morocco. And as I said, I do think this tournament football is just being all about hard to beat in these knockout matches, I think. And Morocco have got such a great process without the ball defensively. They're a very solid team. I mean, they just conceded once in this tournament already. That's it from all their games. So that was from a penalty, I think. So very difficult to break down in open play. And even if you just scroll it back to their World Cup qualifying, where they won all 8 games and they conceded just 2 goals in the qualifying period as well. So Cameroon are going to have to step up, really, I think, if they're going to get a result here. They've got some decent players, haven't they? But I just think they haven't got maybe the functionality with and without the ball to really function as a team. I think that's the problem with Cameroon. And if you look at their last 16 game against South Africa, they conceded 1.95 expected goals in that 2-1 win. And if you just look at all the key sort of metrics and the data associated with that game in terms of like match momentum and reading a few reports on it, South Africa were actually the better team until Cameroon scored twice, really, just I think it was around half time, and came out of nothing, both goals. So I think if you can, if Morocco can keep things tight, and there's a chance here that I think that Cameroon aren't going to be able to stop Morocco's quality in the final third. So just think that they've got huge advantage as well, being at home. Big sellout in their new stadium in Rabat, providing it's going to be huge support for them. That's a big factor in this. Maybe why the market has moved in their favour again, because maybe it's been a little bit underrated, this home advantage factor in this new stadium, which is rocking at the moment. So I do think they're a strong bet here, Steve, actually, still at the prices. I think they're the most likely winners. And I think if I was tempted to get involved on the Asian line as well at -1, but I just don't like doing that in knockout football, really. Job done. Might just be 1-0 Morocco. That'll be fine for them to move on. But really like their win price here, and it's going to play a part in the daily double here. I think they're a really strong bet tonight, Morocco, to just go and get the job done and win the game. So yeah, Morocco for me. How do you see the game going?
I think Morocco will have too much. Yeah, ultimately I faded Cameroon pre-tournament quite a bit, and I've got to kind of stick to my guns. They've been better than I thought they'd be. Sometimes they kind of galvanise themselves, but then I've looked at their fixtures. Who have they really beaten? They've been okay, but this is the toughest test in Africa right now. Morocco on Moroccan soil. So look, I've had this feeling for a long time. We're heading towards this massive blockbuster semi-final of Algeria versus Morocco, and gun to my head, I would probably say the winner of that wins the tournament. Really, I hope Senegal actually do it. I've got more invested in Senegal, but I've always had this feeling that's going to be the semi-final. So yeah, I think Morocco will get. I'm not saying they're going to win big, but I think they probably will do it. And the first part of your daily double is Morocco inside 90 minutes. There's a player prop you like in this game as well for the host nation.
Yeah, Ashraf Hakimi's prices here really stood out with Bet Rivers. And if you can get on his score or assist price around plus 220, no, we're in for sort of a low scoring game, but this is a really nice price to attack, I think. So him to score or assist. You can find that for Bet Rivers under the player specials tab. I think it's a very nice bet, this, because he is their star man, isn't he? Hakimi from down that right-hand side. They've been quite shrewd with him, actually, because he suffered an ankle injury in November playing for PSG. And Morocco have just decided to sort of ease him back in through the group stages. I don't think he played in the first 2 games in the hope that he could be at full fitness and at his best in the knockouts. I think it's worked a treat because he looked really good against Tanzania. I think they played in the last round. Fit and firing, set up the winning goal. So he grabbed an assist there. So that bet would have landed in this game. And if you just pull in his data from his last competitive appearances for Morocco, he's had a goal involvement, so a goal or an assist in 4 of his last 5 competitive starts for Morocco now. and 9. This bet would have landed in 9 of his last 14 games for Morocco. So definitely huge signs here that he is their talisman down the right. Without a doubt, their best player. He's such a brilliant player as well. I think he's very hard for opposition players to stop because he's so dynamic and he's so intelligent with his end product. He's very hard to pick up, especially coming from that sort of deep right channel where you wouldn't expect the players to really hit you from. But this is where Morocco come at you for down this right because they know the strengths that Hakimi bring to the table. So, yeah, I think a player of this sort of standard is what he's done for PSG over the past sort of 18 months has been absolutely phenomenal in the Champions League and domestically. He's got this big game mentality, I think, and I think this price for him to score assists tonight is one to get on. So yeah, definitely be having a play on Hakimi to score assist.
Plus 210 with Bet Rivers to score or assist. Hubble Levadian mentions shot on target for Hakimi as well. He's actually plus 150 for a shot on target. Diaz has been a great bet, says Steve from Lynn. He scored in every game and he's plus 215 to score. So plenty of value, plenty of plus money plays on the table here, which brings me to the offer, which is still valid until January the 11th. Been mentioning this quite a bit recently. If you've got your eyes on a plus money bet at Bet Rivers, Betting Weekly is giving you a little bit of pizza money to lock it in. Use the pizza money bonus code. It's on screen. Betting Weekly 1218 in capitals to get a $10 bonus bet to use on any plus money bet at Bet Rivers. So there's already a suggestion. And a couple more from chat that you could use if you've still got this $10 bonus to use. Make sure you use it. You've got a couple more days to do it. And don't miss out. Don't forget about it. I've been there myself where I'm saving it up for a certain date and I forget about it. So don't miss out whatever you do if you are eligible for that one. In terms of the betting splits for this game, it's a little bit surprising, actually. 77% of the tickets are on Morocco. Only 53% of the money's on Morocco. I expected more, but Cameroon are historically quite a big name. They've got a reputation, and there might be quite a few bettors out there just simply placing money based on name. I've never seen a minute in this tournament so far, and that might explain that. 90% of the money's on the over. That surprises me as well. It's the AFCON. I know there's been more goals in AFCON, but some really surprising betting trends there. On the game. So for those who like to follow the money as such, then yeah, there's a few question marks. But okay, let's move on to the second part of your daily double straight away. Actually, Bundesliga returns tonight in Germany. Eintracht Frankfurt against Borussia Dortmund is the fixture. As I just get the graphic up now, if I can find, there we go. Eintracht Frankfurt plus 265 home dog. Dortmund are minus money favourites in this one. It's very, very cold out there in Germany for this return round. There's already been a match called off, unfortunately. It is tomorrow's match, St. Pauli against RB Leipzig, and I gave that out as an underplay on the extra time show, which will be released in 45 minutes. This is actually the only match, Lewis, which is set to kick off in temperatures above freezing in Celsius, but only just 1 degree. But anyway, you have got you also like the under angle here, Lewis. Eintracht Frankfurt Dortmund high goal line, 2 points, around about 3 on the Asian mark, 3.5. You don't see that many goals.
No, I do think that the goal line is too high here. Actually, I was surprised to see it as backable as it is at the price. I think we get under 3 Asian line is about sort of minus 125. It's a great spot to be in. The fact we can get away with level stakes if there are 3 goals and we only lose if they're 4. So yeah, it's just about these recent form of both teams really in terms of their goal output. I think it was just we had one point this season at the start of it, and we were Frankfurt were the absolute goal machines, weren't they? Their games were sort of averaging over 4 over quite a big sample size, but it's flipped recently. I mean, since they got beat by Liverpool, that's 12 games ago. Games are now only averaging 2.6. So definitely think they tried to become a little less gung-ho in their approach and become a bit more defensively sound. And I'm not really sure that's been reflected in the market, that maybe they're sort of leaning towards historical trends from earlier this season. Not sure it's moved in the right way here. So yeah, just some of the numbers on Frankfurt. Only 2 of the last 12 games have seen over 3.5 goals land 2. So I think this just gives me quite a lot of confidence that the unders line is the way to play Frankfurt games at the moment. And when you throw Dortmund into the mix, because you obviously want both sides of the coin to be going your way for a strong bet when it comes to a goal line, I think they're a really profitable team to follow when it comes to the unders as well, which I suppose doesn't fit the traditional narrative with them because they are a traditionally very goal-heavy team playing in a very goal-heavy league. But if you've been back in the under 2.5 line recently in their matches, you've landed 6 winners in the last 8 matches. And I think all those prices probably would have been at plus money too, just looking at the average goal line. So very profitable team to back under 2.5 at the moment. And again, if you're just looking at how I'm going to play this with the under 3.5 or under 3 Asian line, only one of their last 14 in the league has seen over 3.5 land. So I do think there's some good trends here to be jumping on. And it does make sense from a stylistic point of view of the manager. I think Niko Kovac, he's very much a controlled manager, likes to keep a strong structure. I just think if low-scoring football is your thing, then I think Kovac is your man, isn't he, in certain spots? And I think away from home in a game like this could just be job done mode for Dortmund coming back after the break. So under 3.5 goals, I'm going to put that in the daily double there, plus 121. But I wouldn't put people off just having a go on the under 3 Asian line here too at sort of minus 120. I think it's hard to see a high-scoring game developing with two teams that are sort of defensively sound at the moment.
Yeah, that's the official daily double. Borussia Dortmund at Eintracht Frankfurt under 3.5 goals, and Morocco moneyline in 90 minutes to beat Cameroon plus 121 daily double there. I mean, I look at this. You're absolutely right about Frankfurt. They, I think, really the tipping point was when they got beat by Liverpool big 5-1, and it should have been about 10. And that was not a great Liverpool at that point in time. But since then, their games have been pretty low scoring, apart from a couple of them. The crazy match in Cologne, which was 4-3, and then they got beaten big 6-0 by RB Leipzig, which was a bit of an anomaly. Every other game has been pretty tight. And these two sides actually met in the German Cup, of course, in early November, I think it was, ended 1-1. Dortmund won after penalty kicks. So, I mean, the problem also that Frankfurt they've got players missing. Bahoya's ill. Burkhardt is an injury. Chaibi's on international duty. I think Skiri's going to be rested after being in AFCON. The Batman is still injured. Michi Batshuayi. So the options are limited. I think Knauf's going to play up front. I do like the Japanese international that they have, Ritsu Don. I think he's a bit of quality, but, you know, I'm not sure. So the goal scoring is more likely to be done by Dortmund, if anyone. That's why they're minus money here to win, actually. I could see them nicking it, Borussia Dortmund, this game. And they have been a surprisingly under team. Dan Robert put in the chat here, biggest unders team in the Bundesliga. You never, ever would have thought that. In the Champions League, they've been on the overs. But domestically, it's been unders. Matek says it's for him, though. It's Dortmund and both teams score, yes. Good day to Brad Betts. Footy, good to see you. Julian Brandt, shot on target, says good steak dinner. And Brad Betts there has come up with the 3 out of 13 league matches over 2.5. Absolutely right. Plus 12 units if you blanket betted under 2.5 goals on every Dortmund game for 1 unit this season in the Bundesliga. Absolutely crazy. Yet 90% of the money's on the over, Lewis.
Of course, always.
90% of the money's on the over. 91% of the money on the over-under is on Dortmund. The money line's on Dortmund. But yeah, that's the official daily double today. Under 3.5 goals in this match, and Morocco money line plus 121. I do agree with you. I like the under Asian goal line under 3. I'm not going to officially tip it myself because things go wrong when I tip officially on Dortmund.
Well, thank you. That's very kind of you. That's very kind of you.
Yeah.
Cheers.
I'll leave that in your hands entirely. So that's that match. Right, let's switch to La Liga then. Again, another Friday, another Getafe fixture, and I'm getting a bit fed up with dealing with these guys. I don't really like betting on their games too much. Getafe plus 255 dog against the Real Sociedad side, who are under new management, of course. The tie plus 180 this stage of the season feels pretty short. And for the second week running, we've got an absurdly low goal line, in 1.5 or 1.75. I did say last week when I was with Rui Barlow, be careful betting that under 1.5 or under 1.75 because goals can be scored by accident. It just can happen. And I never blame anyone for having a nibble on the over when the goal line's that low, whatever. And you're going to be a nibbler, aren't you?
Yeah, I've had a massive nibble at this. I couldn't believe the line. And you're right. I think the whole point of this sport is to score goals, isn't it? That's the aim of the game. When you go out onto the pitch, you try and score a goal. And you mentioned that this is the name of the game, and goals could be scored by accident. It's absolutely true. So yeah, I do think that's an incredibly rare occasion here. We can get a goal line at over, was it minus? Sorry, the goal line's at over 1.5, isn't it? We can get it at minus 150, which is absolutely crazy. Yeah, crazy. So I think there will be goals in this game. I know Getafe, absolutely traditionally a very very low scoring team in terms of total output, but their squad is so stretched at the moment. And the big factor here for me is the fact their first choice centre backs are suspended here. So Dagenham and Duarte both suspended. So a big reshuffle is going to have to be likely here for Getafe, who are all about the defensive process and keeping things tight. And really liked what I've sort of seen from the data on Sociedad's first game under the new manager Matarazzo, isn't he? So it's only one game sample size, which is a dangerous game to play sometimes, basing an opinion on just one game. But they were very good against Atletico Madrid, against a very good opposition. I mean, they won the XG battle 1.8 to 0.9, shot count 18-10. And you've got to respect that line of form, I think, because he's come against a Atleti team who had won 11 of their last 13 games and went off minus money for the fixture away from home. So I think the fact that Sociedad created so many problems with their chance creation, they looked like they were creating chances at will against a very good side. So the fact that now they're taking on a team like Getafe with maybe a bit of positivity in their sales from that result, I just think they got a really good chance here of getting on the score sheet and maybe getting a couple of goals, because I think the outright market's moved in Sociedad's favour, but the goal line really hasn't, and that doesn't really make sense to me, because I think if you fancy Sociedad, if the market is speaking positively for a Sociedad win, then the goal line should really be affected as well, in a positive fashion. And I don't think it really has here. So I think the fact that Getafe are missing their two key defenders, Sociedad's chances of scoring goals becomes much easier. And the fact we can get over 1.5 total goals line of the match at minus 150 for a team that should, again, the price is a little bit short on me on Sociedad winning the game, but just to get 2 goals at minus 150, I think it's a really hard one to pass up, when what we saw from Sociedad against Atleti last time out, and the fact that Getafe are missing their 2 best centre backs. So yeah, I think this has got a good chance of landing. I know it's a strange bet to be putting up, because I don't really like going this short potentially, but the fact is we can just need 2 goals to win, I can't say no to it, Steve. So I mean, absolutely, they've dangled the carrot, and I've absolutely taken it here. And I think Sociedad might be able to clear the line themselves, really. So yeah, in a really interesting goals market, which I don't think has reacted enough to, excuse me, that Sociedad performance against Atleti.
Yeah, I don't blame you for this one at all, because I've done this many times myself. When the goal line is so low that even if I don't really fancy the goals, I'm like, go on, I'm going to take a piece of that, because goals can be scored by accident from set pieces at any moment in time. One goal completely opens up the game. You can go under the 2.5 line, which is the main goal line in soccer, and still win the bet with 2-0 or 1-1. So yeah, I totally don't blame you there. I mean, the interesting thing is over 2.5 goals is at plus 220. Over 3.5 goals is 6-1. Over 4.5 goals is 16-1. That's the same goal line that we've got for Bayern Munich Wolfsburg this weekend, around about even money. So, and
as you say, if there's an early goal, it says if there's an early goal, Steve, the game could catch a light, and Getafe will have to open up, and that's if there is an early goal in this game, then those prices are absolutely live, I think. So I'm not going to get the ladder out, but I mean, if you fancy it, I wouldn't put people off if you really think Sociedad have sort of maybe turned a corner and they got a chance to really put a couple of goals together. If they get 1-2 in front, then Getafe have to come out, and you never know, they get one back. It is just the name of the game in football is to score goals. This is what always goes through my mind when this goal line is so low, and I just think sometimes you can't say no to a price like that. And I almost put this in the daily double actually, but just didn't quite make the cut. But I would encourage anyone to have a really strong look at these over 1.5 and over 2.5 goal lines and have a go.
Well, also, I think teams definitely look at odds and look at predictions, and everyone's saying, "Oh, this is going to be a 0-0." I don't think the defenders are fearing any of the attackers at all. They're not on their guard, maybe. And that can sometimes lead to more goals than expected as well. This new managerial hire is an interesting one, to say the least, for Sociedad. Pellegrino Matassaro, American, who has spent all of his coaching career in Germany. He was former Hoffenheim boss, 67 matches there. And, to be fair, that Hoffenheim side was pretty open. And he said, I think it's a strange appointment. Normally they'll bring a Basque sort of coach in Real Sociedad. So fair play to them, actually, for going outside the box here and getting this fella in who had a decent enough debut in charge. And you know what? The money's on the over for the game, Lewis.
Doesn't surprise me at all.
96%. Yeah, 96%. Who would want to bet on under 2.5 goals at, what is it, minus whatever, 200, something along those lines? Minus 305 for under 2.5 goals. I've not seen anything so short in a league match for a long time. Interesting betting split with the money line, though. 57% of the money is on Real Sociedad, but 55% of the tickets on Getafe. So pretty close in that market. 1-1 draw wouldn't surprise me, at all. Or
that's fine, Steve. That's fine.
Humble Lavadian mentions corners for the game. I do agree. I think you could watch out for corners here as well. Real Sociedad do have a high number of corners this season, but new manager, although I think they had quite a lot last week as well. So maybe it's ingrained into their system. Alexander Byrne, good to see you. Guys, always love the show, but Nigeria are head and shoulders above Algeria. I respect your opinion, but he's going to take them to win this quarterfinal and win the competition. And Stuart Johnson likes Nigeria as well. My issue with Nigeria is actually the defense. I think you can get at that defense, and the keeper as well. There's only one really kind of stood in there, and that is Bassi at Fulham, and even he's prone to the odd mistake. So there could be a few goals in it. Obviously Nigeria's offense is electric. It's absolutely brilliant. But there was a little bit of sort of internal politics heading into that game about getting paid and stuff. That's never going to be an issue. Of course, they're not going to pull out of a quarterfinal or anything. But you just never know what's going on behind the scenes with Nigeria. I think Algeria will get the job done, but I can see why some would look at that Nigeria attack and think, yeah, they're very, very good. It sounds like, Senegal are ahead, I think, in their match against Mali, which that's good news for me. Quite a lot of you watching it already. No surprise there. Okay. That's the 3 Euro games done today in the AFCON. We're going to move now to the FA Cup, which is the third round level. We've got some matches to talk about tonight, but also we've got to put the futures market up. And I must encourage everyone to check out because we're in an Instagram account where several of the handicappers have given out their best futures plays for this competition. Simon Holden's gone quite off-piste with one of his selections. You might not be surprised to hear, but Manchester City, they're the favourites. Liverpool and Arsenal and Chelsea at plus 800. Newcastle plus 900, of course. And then, the biggest price Premier League team is Wolves at 66-1. I've got to be honest, Lewis, I think there's question marks about the entire top 5 or 6 in the market here. I'm not saying none of those top 5 or 6 will win the FA Cup, but I just don't know who's going to be prioritising it at certain stages. That's why I couldn't personally get involved in anyone shorter than 10-1.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think there's a lot of weakness at the top of the market, and exactly the same thoughts I had last season, really. I'm very, very excited by Palace's run last year, because I was on a few of those teams in that sort of middle section: Forest, Brighton, Palace, to go all the way. And Palace did me a real nice turn to go and win the competition. So I was really delighted with that. And I'm just going to repeat the feat, really, in terms of the theory, with the fact that a lot of these teams in the mid-table in the Premier League, it's a very congested league this season. I think there's not much between. Take Arsenal out of the equation, everyone probably up from Leeds to Manchester City to a certain extent could beat anyone or get a result in a one-off match. There's not much between these teams, and I think that this market doesn't really represent that at all. And I think when you throw in motivation to the mix as well, these teams in mid-table, likes of Brighton, Bournemouth, Palace, to a certain extent, I know they've got the Conference League to concentrate on as well this season. But there's a lot of teams in that middle section of that Premier League that we're thinking we can have a good crack at the FA Cup this year. And I think, you have to focus all your betting attention in those around those teams at this stage of the competition, and you hope that one of the big boys get knocked out early. I mean, Liverpool have got a terrible record under Slot in cup competitions. Arteta at Arsenal, I don't think he's got past the fourth round since they won it 5 seasons ago. So this is there is weakness at the top of the market with some of these the elite teams, and I do think you just have to focus your attention on teams. I've had one bet so far in this market, and that's Bournemouth at plus 2,500. I think they can beat anyone on their day, and this is a team I want to back. The team that I know their ceiling is really, really high. They got a really winnable game. I know on paper it doesn't look like they can go to St James's Park. They've got Newcastle away on Saturday. I think they're a really good bet to go and get a result there and get through that tie, just because of Newcastle having priorities elsewhere in other cup competitions in the league. So I've backed Bournemouth already, and I would encourage anyone who wants to have a futures play to maybe jump on Bournemouth, but just concentrate on those teams in that middle section of the Premier League. So I think they've got a great chance of going a long way again this season.
Yeah, I'm going Fulham again. It'll be no surprise to people. I think someone's actually put them in chat already. Matesk likes Fulham as well, 40-1. Bet Rivers, by the way, are going each way a third of the odds. Sorry, half of the odds if you make the final, basically. So, you know, I'll be on them at 20-1 to reach the final. I mean, I think the likes of Brentford, Bournemouth, you've got me interested now. Brighton, I liked them more before Man United sacked Amorim, because I think Man United will almost be all in for this FA Cup now, won't they?
Have to be, yeah. They absolutely have to be.
Yeah. We had a chat actually this morning when we were recording Betting Weekly Extra Time, and Dan Robert mentioned Wolves at 66. Isn't it? They've been all right, Wolves of late. Like in individual matches, 66-1. They might as well have a go at this. There's worse 66-1s.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, if they're going to be down and out probably in terms of their survival hope, so it might be the only thing they can really concentrate on when it comes to March. If they get to the 5th round, they might have an actual advantage over other teams. And you're right, their defensive process has improved immeasurably under Rob Edwards. I think when I ran the data before they played Everton, I was really strong on their double chance actually away at Everton, and I think they got the second best defensive process over the past 6 games in the league. They're not conceding many chances. He's really tightened them up. They're not a team that are anywhere near the levels of like what Derby were in that famous season where they hardly picked up any points. They're a much better side than that. João Gomez, Andre, Strand Larsen, they've got some really good Premier League players there. So I would not be surprised if they start to pick up a little bit between now and the end of the season. And I mentioned this actually on the Monday show. I really like Wolves to have a strong second half of the season, and Burnley to finish bottom of the Premier League is heavy plus money around if you can get it. It's a really great bet to get on and follow over the rest of the season, because Burnley are the worst team in the Premier League. According to the metrics, according to everything, they have been the worst team this season, and Wolves are on the upgrade. So it makes sense to back Burnley to finish bottom if you can find a price. But yeah, I'm with you on Wolves. I mean, 66-1. Yeah, why not? I think they're part of that in the equation of all those teams that really could have a go and go quite deep.
Real Brandon King says Newcastle intrigues me. He thinks they'll shift attention. I think they're going to go all out to defend their EFL Cup. I actually think they'll beat City. I think they'll make the final. City, I think, are the team that might sack that one off. But you're right. Maybe this weekend is the one that Newcastle look at. And they've won a cup now, at least. And we don't know what the priorities for Eddie Howe are. So I get you, Real Brandon King, there. But this is why team news is so important with the FA Cup and all cups, really. You just don't know what you're going to get. Just a quick question from Real Brandon King as well about, is Thiago possibly a bet for EPL top scorer? I saw him linked with Chelsea today. 70 million link. I don't know how true that is or anything.
Too old, isn't it? Too old.
Could he? I mean, if Haaland did get injured,
yeah, that's the
actual
thing,
standings.
Yeah.
I need to look at the standings here.
He's definitely motivated, isn't he? I mean, he's picking up. I haven't got the numbers on me, but you'd probably be banking on Haaland to get an injury, which, let's be honest, it could happen because he has got a bad record of picking up these injuries at some point in the season. Take a lot, I think, to he can just score 3 or 4 in one game, Haaland. This is the problem when City get going. I know he's not on a great run at the moment, and Thiago is, but yeah, it could just be they could just be running a bit hot at the moment. Brentford as well. Everything's just dropping their way quite nicely. I'm not sure it's just a sustainable level of form they're showing. So, but he's been a brilliant. I mean, they've done it again, haven't they? Brentford. Their recruitment is absolutely first class. To lose Mbuemo and Visser, and just to bring the next one along the conveyor belt and to slot in and be able to score goals. It's absolutely unbelievable recruitment, and they deserve so much credit for what they've done this season. Brentford to get him scoring at that rate in the Premier League when he's not really done it. He's not had that much experience in the league. I mean, he was injured, isn't he, for the entirety of last season, and he's managed to come in and just find his form. And yeah, they've done it again. The recruitment team at Brentford, an unbelievable club. One of many clubs in the Premier League that seem to pick out these gems. Bournemouth, Brighton, Brentford, just exceptionally run football clubs. Something Manchester United could probably learn from.
Yeah, Erling Haaland, 20 goals this season. Thiago at 16. Semenyo is third on the list with 10. And Dominic Calvert-Lewin with 9. And I certainly wouldn't have thought that pre-season. Bruno Guimaraes, by the way, top 5. Shout out to him. He's having a brilliant season from midfield for Newcastle. Okay, FA Cup matches today. We start with 4. There is 4 matches on the card today. MK Dons, Oxford, Port Vale, Fleetwood, Preston North End, Wigan, and Wrexham Forest. Let's start with MK Dons against Oxford. Oxford United are managerless, or have they appointed a new boss now? Matt Bloomfield was linked, wasn't he? Has he got the job?
He hasn't got the job yet. I think he's on the verge of taking the job. Whether he's going to be in charge tonight, I think they're in advanced talks with the line that I saw earlier. But it seems like he's the man for Oxford, but I'm not sure he's going to be in the dugout tonight. I think it'll be Craig Short again.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough one in terms of money line here. It's nearly a pick 'em, actually. You're not going to get involved in that. You're going to get involved in the goal line this match. Yeah,
it's a really interesting market, isn't it? This outright one, because we've got a team playing in League Two, playing a team in the Championship. So that's 2 leagues between them, separated by 29 places in the pyramid. Yeah, it's a pick 'em with the League Two team actually shortening as well, MK Dons, since I looked earlier. So these prices might close up further before kickoff. But yeah, no, it's a very difficult game to call, as most FA Cup situations are before you can get ahead of the team news. Not sure I want to be involved in the outright market, but I was just looking at the goal line here, and I was, really, really quite like what the odds that Bet Rivers are offering here for the over 2.5 at -120. Yeah, MK Dons, I mean, they've got the second highest strike rate in League Two for over 2.5 goals. 60% of their games have gone over, and it does match up with the manager, I think. Paul Ward, he's a very likes to play sort of free scoring football, does lend itself to quite chaotic matches at times, and just ran their numbers from their last 25 games in all competitions. Their goal average, total goals in their matches, 3.4 per 90. And the thing that really sealed the deal for me to get involved with the overs here was the fact that both their FA Cup matches, the first round and second round, absolutely flew over 2.5 goals. 3-2 win at Colchester and a 3-1 win at Oldham. So I think he's going to approach these kind of games with his usual style, where he just likes his teams to go out and attack and play good football. And Oxford probably got some points to prove, haven't they, with their new manager probably watching. So there's going to be a few players looking to catch the eye of the new manager who could be in the stands. So yeah, just thought the over 2.5 line here at -120 was the way to play it, based on the numbers that MK Dons are putting up and the fact it could be quite a game without much tension in, so to speak. They could just both go for it. So yeah, I like the over 2.5 here. Very, very simple argument to make, I think, when it comes to, and an easy argument to make when it comes to MK Dons games.
Yeah, fair enough. And it looks like chat totally agree with you in that one. Humble Levadian says, is the weather bad everywhere in the UK? I think you've got to check regional here, Humble Levadian. I mean, up here in Yorkshire, we didn't have any snow at all. But just about, 50 to 100 miles south of me, it was gridlock. So it's very
I'm
variable.
About 50 miles away from Milton Keynes. I think maybe a bit more than that, 60 miles. And it's been raining non-stop here. It hasn't snowed, but it's been raining consistently for about, I'd say, probably 36 hours now. And the water levels are rising. So very wet down here. Probably very wet in Milton Keynes as well. So yeah, something to factor in. The weather is absolutely horrendous in the south of England at the moment. So if you've got a theory about how weather affects goal outputs, then it's probably one to use this evening, I think.
And yeah, Brad Betts footy. There is bad weather in the Netherlands. The match in the Eredivisie was postponed tonight. Nijmegen against Utrecht. You can't bet on that anymore because the game's off. Villa fan says, I'm obviously biased, but why are Aston Villa never spoken about in terms of good recruitment? Do you know what? I thought about that comment, and I do agree with you. It's probably because you're not this moneyball club, isn't it, really, or perceived as a moneyball club. But they've done well. Really good recruitment team. He's
built a brilliant squad, hasn't he? He's got quality players in more or less every position, and he keeps them fit. That's the beauty of Unai Emery. I love the fact he manages to keep all his key players fit and firing for most of the season. Just a superb manager at sort of guiding his way through a season, and that is so important in this day and age, I think. And yet, fair play. We should mention Villa with their recruitment. I mean, Morgan Rogers, it was an absolute outstanding and signing, and Yuri Tielemans has gone on. That was a free transfer from Leicester, wasn't he? Yuri Tielemans, one of the best central midfielders in the league at the moment.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
very good.
So, yeah,
Kamara was a great signing.
Kamara,
We nearly got him from Marseille, and he's turned into an absolute stud of a D mid, really.
Conser as well, the centre back. I mean, no one was talking about him 3 or 4 years ago. They've developed him into probably England's starting centre back at the World Cup. So yeah, I mean, across the pitch, they're just they're run brilliantly, Aston Villa, and I can't speak highly enough of them. So I will, when I mention these teams that are well run now, I always seem to go Brighton, Brentford, Bournemouth. I will stick Villa in there as well.
Yeah, I think it's a fair point there. Aston Villa, by the way, to win the FA Cup 18-1. That's the odds, the futures odds to win this competition this season. Every single team, obviously, plus money. And if you are interested in a plus money bet, just a reminder again, if we have got the $10 pizza money bonus, if you've got your eye on a plus money bet at Bet Rivers, use this code to lock it in. It is betting weekly 1218, and you'll get a $10 bonus bet to use on any plus money bet at Bet Rivers. But you've got only until January the 11th to use that up. So 2 more days left. It's the last time I'll be saying this code, I think, because it will be expired on by next week. So please do use it if you've got access to it and you're eligible. Don't miss out. I know loads of you have done it already. Hopefully, there's been a few winners out there. Good luck, whatever you are going to play. There is more FA Cup matches tonight or today. Port Vale against Fleetwood. Port Vale, one of the very interestingly named teams in the English soccer pyramid. One of the few teams not to be named after a place. It's a good quiz question. I mean, I looked at this. I have no idea about the result. Preston, Wigan as well. I know you've not got any bets for those games, but if you had to put a team into the hat for the next round, would you go with the 2 home teams, or is there a chance of a surprise in those 2?
Oh yeah, Preston are a good season, aren't they? They would be. It's done a great job, Heckingbottom there. So I've got a lot of respect for them whenever they play. They would be obviously the more likely winners, but again, the market suggests that. And yeah, Port Vale changed the manager, haven't they? Sacked Darren Moore a few weeks ago. They're probably in a transitional period now. Yeah, they look quite short, actually, considering the season they've had, I would argue. But again, the prices looked about right. And I'm focusing my sort of best bet on the FA Cup card does come in the Wrexham game. So if you want to go there, Steve, I can reveal my hand if you like.
Where is Port Vale named after? It's not a port. No, it's definitely. A lot of people think it's next to the sea. It's not. It's inland in the city of Stoke. Their biggest rivals are Stoke City, and it's named after a place on the Trenton Mersey Canal. I do believe something to do with a canal, Steve. So it's a very really really weird one. Marley red card. They got another red. They were red carded in the last match, weren't they, Marley? If that is correct. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Lewis. The headline game is Arsenal, I think, are the other one that's not named after a place. But it was, the original Arsenal was somewhere like
Woolwich, wasn't it?
Near
Woolwich?
Near the Docklands. Yeah, that's a controversial one. That whether it's named after a place or not, sort of thing. It's some real quirks of the English soccer name pyramid. But let's move to Wales now. Wrexham against Nottingham Forest. I mean, this is easily the headline game of the night, isn't it? I saw this fixture for Forest, and I'm like, oh, this is the last place you want to go, isn't it? When you're in a relegation battle, albeit now big result for them against West Ham. Wrexham, everyone talks about Wrexham, the Hollywood and Disney and all that sort of thing. There's no way I would back Forest at minus money to win this game, Lewis, even if I know the owner wants to win every trophy possible. But I just got a feeling this could be a banana skin.
Oh, 100%. Totally agree with you. I think this Forest price is worth taking on, I think. I mean, I can see it drifting further, actually, towards even money. There's loads of reasons here to take Forest on at these odds. I mean, Sean Dyche's record in cup competitions is the starting point, really. It's so bad. He just doesn't really take them very seriously. He's very much a bread and butter of the league kind of manager, I think. And just the numbers around his performances at Burnley and Everton in the cup competitions. 12 seasons as a manager, for Burnley and Everton, never got past the 5th round, and he's been knocked out in the 3rd or 4th round in 10 of those 12 seasons. And there's been some real proper upsets in there as well. Some shocking results. I mean, they lost to Luton, Huddersfield, non-league Lincoln beat Burnley as well. They lost to Norwich. They've lost to Barnsley. I mean, there's a list, a very big list there with Sean Dyche when it comes to the FA Cup. And I think Wrexham might be able to add their name to this list, actually, because I think this is a very bad spot for Forest. As I say, he's surely going to make wholesale changes to his team here. Gibbs White, Anderson, Murillo, Milenkovic. I wouldn't be surprised if they were all given the night off so he can refresh them, because the turnaround from their game on, when was it? It was Tuesday night, wasn't it? I was there for the West Ham game. Very emotional, high-stakes game that was on Tuesday, and it's a very tight turnaround here to Friday night. So I do think this is probably an opportunity for Dyche just to rest a few of his players with a very hectic schedule. So they've obviously got to juggle European football coming up as well. And Wrexham at the moment, absolutely flying, Steve, aren't they, in the Championship? A really good Christmas, 4 wins on the bounce. I think they're just 1 point off the playoffs now. So I think they'll be up for this tonight. I think
they'll be going for this.
Absolutely.
They'll be going for this.
Phil Parkinson as well. He's got a real cup pedigree, isn't he? Phil Parkinson. He's been manager of Bradford, where I think they made the League Cup final once, and that Bradford team won at Chelsea, I think, as well back in the day. So I think this Wrexham price here, double chance, -113 with Bet Rivers. I think this is a very simple, obvious bet to play here tonight, just with the fact that Forest are going to rest and rotate. Dyche has got a horrendous record in the Cup. Under the lights at the racecourse ground, they're going to be up for it. This could be a little bit of a game for a bit of FA Cup magic, I think, Steve, early in the week. So yeah, I do like this Wrexham price. I'll definitely be playing that tonight.
Feels that way, definitely, and quite a few in chat liking Stephen Lynn, Wrexham to qualify. DRV68 says the same bet. Mastesk is asking about both teams' score. Yes, I can tell you now, Mattes, 98% of the money's on the over for this game. And, well, it may well happen. I mean, what you've got to remember with the FA Cup now, there's no replays. We go all the way to extra time and penalties on the night. There is more of an incentive for teams to go for it, to be honest with you, rather than hang around, get a draw for the replay. So that is something to consider. 89% of the money's on Forest, 98% of the tickets on Forest as well. But we think we've got to, well, we're going the other way, really, aren't we? I would be very, very wary of that particular money. Just because they're a Premier League team doesn't mean this is an absolute shoe-in simple victory for them at all. It'd be very, very difficult for them. We've got the Betting Weekly Live PM is going to be on later with Mike Carver and Doug Kazarian. That's going to be 4 p.m. Eastern time, and they'll be covering the big game, Oregon against Indiana. I've got some betting splits just like yesterday. The 78% of the money is on Indiana, and 80% of the tickets are on Indiana on the money line here in the college football. But on the spread, which is +4, -4, 51% of the money is on Oregon there. So they're a bit more supported on the spread. But 72% of the tickets on the spread, on the -4 spread, are on Indiana. And there's money for the over in this one, 48.5 points line. So 71% of the money's on the over here. Oregon against Indiana. The over covered yesterday, of course, in the Miami Ole Miss game. I think the points line was 52.5 and there was 57 points. So the over went on there. There's a house special for the game. Oregon and Indiana each to score at least 10 points in the first half, +135. So house special there from Bet Rivers. But check out the PM show with Doug and Mike. They're going to cover that game, plus more heading into the weekend. NFL, massive weekend. The NFL, of course, we've got the playoffs starting. So good luck whatever you take. I know loads of you are going to bet on those playoffs. So good luck whatever you're taking there. Speaking of the PM show, says Real Brennan King, is Mike Carver's Huddersfield in the FA Cup. Are they in it? They would have been in it. Mike Carver is a Huddersfield Town fan, of course. So he was when I did a Betting Zoo episode with him, he remembered the days in the Premier League. Just very quickly, Lewis, FA Cup weekend. You mentioned that Bournemouth at Newcastle. Would that be one to look out for? Is there any other bet we've got to get on this weekend or not?
Oh, I just think Bournemouth double chance at Newcastle. They're just a big fade of Newcastle this weekend. I think this is the game that Eddie Howe's going to have to rest the big guns. He's going to have to give Bruno Guimaraes a break. He's played the last 15. Tonali's going to have a break. Miley's going to have a break. Lewis Hall's going to have a break. Tiao's going to have a break. and Bournemouth are going to be fully revved up for this, I think. I mean, just look at Newcastle's schedule from the 4th of January, which we've already passed, to the 10th of Feb. They're set to play 12 games, Steve. So that's 12 games, 37 days, a game every 3 days across 37 days. That's absolute madness. And this is the only chance that they have to really row back a little bit, I think, because they're going to prioritise, as you mentioned, the Man City game in midweek in a cup competition that they won last season. That game's going to take priority. I think Eddie Howe wouldn't be too upset if they get knocked out here in the 3rd round, and the odds just don't mirror that whatsoever. I think they're really, really short. I think we get double chance on Bournemouth around even money, and I think that's a great bet.
Huddersfield are not in the FA Cup, by the way. A real Brandon King. They have the pleasure of travelling to Stockport tomorrow in League One, an early kickoff, 7:30 Eastern time. I'm sure Mike Carver's going to be up for that, watching it. Yes, it's a reminder of the daily double before we go. There it is. Eintracht Frankfurt, Dortmund under 3.5 goals, and Morocco to win in 90 minutes against Cameroon, plus 121 daily double. And I mean, what was any other best bets today? Is that Lewis? I
liked a few of them, to be honest. I do like the Hakimi to score assist price in that Morocco game, plus 220. Wrexham double chance, we back in that as well. So yeah, those two were the standouts. And that Getafe game, the over 1.5 goals, with Sociedad looking like they're a bit of a changed team under the manager. I mean, surely they can clear that line themselves, can't they, Steve?
I'm having that.
Minus 150 for over 1.5 goals, total goals, is very rare in football, and sometimes very rare. I think you just got to take a swing, I think. So like that bet. Yeah, a few bets I like tonight. So yeah, good luck if you're following.
Yeah, over 1.75 I'm going to go to in that Real Sociedad game. It's just on principle for me. If it loses, it loses, fair enough. But it's one of those I'm not that bothered if it does, because I know I'm getting the value there is rare. That's a half-time goal line in many fixtures. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's absurd, really. Lewis, I hope you have enjoy your weekend and get a bit of recharge the batteries as such.
Yes,
enjoy
needed.
your time off.
Absolutely needed. Got a bit of the Friday feeling now, Steve. So I'm going to put the kids to bed, and me and the missus are going to go out and try and get something to eat. So proper switch off. Be checking the updates for all the games that we got interest in tonight. So, but she's used to that. It's fine. I'll be on my phone most of the night. That's okay.
Yeah. Good luck, everyone, whatever you're playing. Have a great weekend. And if you're new I know we've seen quite a few new names today. Please do consider subscribing to the channel. Greatly appreciate that, and any likes as well. Betting Weekly Extra Time will drop in 3 minutes' time, I think, or at least this evening. Early this afternoon Eastern time, with me, Dan, and James. So loads of picks on that show. Lewis, take care. Enjoyed it as always. Have a belting weekend, everyone. Remember to gamble responsibly, and see you next week on Betting Weekly Live. Goodbye.